In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Geoff.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Geoff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes life's little annoyances, fills them with lions, tigers, giraffes, insects, lizards and penguins. Lots and lots of penguins to quite simply make it better. Today I'm delighted to welcome drag queen, comedian, entertainer and educator, Miss Lahore. Miss Lahore, how are you today?
Hi, I'm doing really great. I'm super excited to join you today. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's great to have you on. I'm very much looking forward to this. So without further ado, what is it that we're making better today?
Okay, so you came to Jessica Lahore and you were like, what should we talk about? And I was between snacks and communication, and I was like, what can I have a little bit more to talk about? So I wanted to go about communication annoyances, whether that be with friends or coworkers or partners or people that you're forced to see on the regular and like bosses, anything like that. So I guess communication as a whole, grievances, just like things that are really frustrating in that.
So I love this idea because I'm someone who, first of all, likes as little communication as possible. Like I don't like being forced into kind of which is weird considering of the podcast, but I like doing this. But in a personal life, if someone comes to me and they instigate a conversation, then it's 9 times out of 10, it's just an effort. And also it's too much of it. And I'll go into that, but I can't hit me with it. What's your biggest annoyances?
No, I kind of liked what you were saying. The communication is relevant in my life more so this week with some of the things that have been bothering me. But you said it best, like what you're saying is you don't like direct communication. Like if you can avoid confrontation, you'll avoid it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and communication quite as a whole, but yes.
I guess that's my first grievance, is that I need more confrontation in my life. As I continue to get older, all I keep thinking is I'm reminded that I'm surrounded by people that don't want to have actual conversations about anything, but also want everything to be fixed and resolved at the same time. So like I can't fix, and we'll just start it here. If you told me as a friend of 5 years, me and you are friends for 5 years, and you tell me a year ago, and you're like, hey, I've been holding on to this crap for 5 years that you did to me back in 2017, December 21st, you did this. And then 4 months later, you did that. And then another 3 months later, you did this. And you just have this laundry list. And I'm sitting here thinking, for the last 5 years, we've been seeing each other regularly. We've had dinners together. I've told you intimate stories. We went and got drunk together. Like, when did you want to bring this up to me? Because now I can't fix anything. So I guess confrontation in the way where it's constructive. Like, I don't agree with people that just want to go up to you and use their ability to be confrontational to stir the pot or cause problems, or just simply to be nasty just for the sake of it. But a confrontation in the way that's constructive to help.
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, because if you wrong someone and then don't see them for a long period of time, the next time you see them, they say, hey, you really upset me, or you pissed me off, you did whatever. You're like, I am sorry. Can we move on from this? Yes, we can. Fantastic. But someone who's in your life and just has this in them, and all they're doing is waiting for that perfect opportunity where they've got the upper hand, or they need, I know, you to forgive them, or you to, and obviously so the general kind of view. And those people, I don't have time for them at all.
No. And I guess like all I can do in that moment is acknowledge that you felt bad and say, I'm sorry, but you've already stewed in it for however amount of time. You've marinated in your resent or your jealousy or your anger, that at that point, even if I say sorry to you and I can't fix it because it happened whenever it happened, and you just be mad about it, well, I can't do anything. At that point, the damage is so deep that I didn't even know, but I can't even fix it. Kind of thing.
And you know what? These are the kind of people as well who a lot of the time will be talking to other people. So, but I don't say anything. But Geoff did this. Don't say anything. I'm not going to bring it. I just, don't say anything. And so everyone else is forming these little opinions, and you haven't got the opportunity to back up or defend or own whatever it is.
And I totally get if you're saying that, but you maybe vent that way to a partner or like your one best friend or your therapist, somebody that is like that person to you, where they know you're just needing to say it. But it's when you start telling little people little things, but not the person that is actually the one. Oh, absolutely.
God, definitely. Yeah.
And I'm also a person that like gives myself a timestamp on being angry. I hate stewing in things. And I have a really good friend, a drag friend named Felony Misdemeanor, fun name for you.
I love it.
She's like, if you can't stop thinking about it, you got to address it. But if you have the mental ability to wake up the next day or give yourself a timestamp like I do, where you can just get over it, choose to then be over it. You chose not to confront it. You chose to forgive that person and know their intent, but you can't bring it up later and use that if you chose not to address it.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's a British comedian called Sarah Milligan, or Millican, sorry. And there's a thing called Milligan's Law within the kind of the UK stand-up circuit. And she said that basically, if you have a bad gig or a good gig, you've gone to 11 o'clock the next morning to brag about it or be depressed about it, then you move on with your life, or it consumes you. And it's something I kind of take on for situations like this. So if you've got a bad day at work, or you've had that confrontation with someone, or someone says something, then you've got until, by lunchtime the next day, it's either out in the open and you're talking about it, or you're just, I can actually swallow this and move on.
And what are you gaining from talking about things like that so much? Like, what satisfaction are you getting? Like, what is happening about you just talking about your bad day at work over and over again, knowing that you're gonna have to go to work and do the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, and say to the same people who hear the same things, and that's, do you know what? That is a lovely segue. I feel there's more on this initial conversation, but it's a perfect segue into something which I hate. It's been addressed on with another guest on this podcast before, is small talk, and these days but in this manner of, I don't know, talking behind people's back is something which I know everyone likes. I know, a little bitch, like you say, to your partner or whoever. But people coming to you, or you're in a situation, and it's, hey, did you know what this person did? I'm like, no, because they didn't tell me, which means it's none of my business.
Exactly.
Leave me out of it.
Leave out of it entirely. It's unnecessary.
I do not want to be complicit to, whatever it is. And so is this something kind of, I know, which has happened to you recently, or is this a situational thing? Like,
this has been happening my whole life. My whole entire 10 years in this industry as a drag queen, it's been happening. It does happen about once a year. So yes, this is currently happening in my life in the last probably 2 weeks. But prior to that, it was like 2 years ago. And I just am starting to get less and less patient. And I've been less and less patient about the idea of what it means moving forward. Like, okay, I've seen this cycle before. I'm gonna escape. I'm gonna just take that road out there. Thank you. Like, I don't wish you harm. I'm not gonna talk bad about you. We can still work together. I'm gonna leave, because I'm not gonna continue to peddle this cycle that I've been in.
It's that, so kind of the drag community in the UK. So I've been to some nights. Unfortunately, the place where there was a very good drag night near where I live, the pub shut down many moons ago. But where you are, is it a large circle of people? Like, is there a circuit? Do you all know each other, or is it quite expansive? Like the geography,
it's pretty big. So Denver is one small city in Colorado, and there's drag all around the state of Colorado. But there's probably over 400 performers in the scene that are constantly working and doing things. So everyone's in some weird way intertwined, but everyone knows of each other.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Okay.
So it's very spread out, but it's also very small, like in your scene.
So there's a good opportunity then for you to bump into people kind of regularly.
Well, and I don't mind bumping into people. That's part of my confrontational style. I don't mind bumping into people whatsoever.
Would you say then, because this is something which performers, depending on which kind of performer or entertainer you are,
yeah,
I suppose you see it more in certain things. So to be, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but to be a drag, you've got to be bold, you've got to be confident, or certainly, when you're out to perform, it's got to be high energy. I mean, the acts I've seen are amazing. Just the quick wit, the punchiness, just the pure energy on stage. It's a huge production. So, is there I don't know, just hot blood just running behind the scenes of these things just quite a lot? And is that a reason why people maybe just, I don't know, bang off each other, butt heads?
When you're in the scene for so long, you see it like a roller coaster, like I think in any profession that you've been in forever. Some really great moments where everyone is just so synced up, and some really shitty moments where people just are at each other's throats. And this constant change is something that when you notice it in this cycle over and over again, that people will hold on to some of those lower moments over the course of many years. Say, well, everything's good now, but back in 2017, Jessica Lahore said I was mean and a poopy pants, and then they hold on to that. But it's like, oh, things are good now, but I remember that person when that was an issue. So I think there's a lot of weird, like we're the first ones to stand up for each other, and also the same ones, the first people to start tearing each other down in unnecessary ways.
Isn't that the same with a lot of communities, though, which entertainers and outsiders that? It's like, well, it's almost that, I suppose it's kind of nice. It's almost that sibling thing of I can punch my brother in the face, but you cannot punch my brother in the face. Like that's how we.
In reality, we shouldn't be punching anybody.
No one. There should be no punching in the face. No punches. No bad. Talking to each other, and because I remember, so I don't have her. I have an older sister. And she used to beat the shit out of me, something rotten. Like seriously, I got hit with a belt. But I would never snitch to Dad, who was a bit of a grumpy guts at times, and so she kind of, I don't know, as she grew up, kind of had this respect. It would still do it, kind of still kick the crap out of me, and then. At like 15 years old, I turned 6 foot, and she hit me, and I laughed, and that was when she decided it was time.
It was time to
grow up. And now she says, "Oh, do you know, I always respected you for not, for not snitching to Dad. Thanks for that." I was like, "Yeah, oh, okay, yeah, no worries." But that was something we did. However, in the playground, when Darren Cox was following me around the playground, and one of my friends went and got her, she went and knocked him straight out. And
right.
Oh goodness, I must have been 11, 10, 9, something around then, and she would have been 2 years higher than me. Just walked up and just knocked him straight out. It was great.
And you're like, yeah,
that's it. And I'm like, oh, you're my hero.
This is why I don't snitch, because now I got it.
Later on, though, she was probably kicking the crap out of me herself.
Yeah, right.
But it is, it's so a bit of a segue there, but it is that kind of thing within communities, isn't it? And maybe that's what gives people, or I don't know, maybe they feel like they've got a right to bottle this stuff up because it's, I know, so much, hey, I had your back here, so I'm allowed to hold on to this. I don't know.
Well, and I think even mixing professional and personal relationships kind of get in the way of that. Or if like it's a family member that works in your industry, so you have your a family, personal and professional relationship. I think that all kind of adds to how people feel they're able to communicate either even better or even not. I feel like if I am not close to somebody, I don't even have the desire to be confrontational because that person is not in my life that way. Like you hurt my feelings. I could tell you that, but you're not going to care. I really don't care when I think about it because we don't need anything, and I'm just going to let it go. And then you have, I think it's part of the length, I guess, like that connection piece of it. Like if your sister, you're having communication with your sister is very different than you with some coworker that you don't ever have a worry about or care about.
Yeah, and that is really healthy way to look at it as well, because especially on social media and everything, you see anonymous comment. If it annoys you or if it's personal, so like say, fire back if you want, but just let that all be all it is. Take it to
Twitter.
But I do. So do you have many drag friends? Like, are they work colleagues? Are they, do you have friends?
This industry is so close. I feel like that's it's like any job. You find people that you love what you do just as much as you love what they do, and you love doing it together. So whatever job you're in, you end up getting closer. You have work friends, and then you have friends outside of that, and then you have just some colleagues. You have coworkers, people that you see at events and shows, but they're not really like personal friends, or people in the scene because of a flyer. But it's just it's kind of different in that sense. You build a lot of your relationships in the community.
Yeah, because it's a bit odd because if you had an office job, and I see it's quite a lot. So making friends within a 9 to 5 working environment or a non-entertainment based work environment, you will make friends and you think, wow, I'm really good friends with this person. You then leave that job, or they leave that job and move on. And all of a sudden, the communication you have is not quite so much. And then it's been forever since you've spoken to them, and you always remember them fondly. But actually, you're not friends. Like you were more than colleagues, but less than friends. If you that kind of, you probably had a few nights out. But within kind of the entertainment world, within your world, you don't have that because you are doing what you love, and you don't actually leave. You're self-employed essentially. That you go
all self-employed for sure.
Yeah. So you book, and so I know in downtime as well, just like before shows, after shows, kind of run off that high at the end of the night kind of thing. You must spend just an awful lot of time with these people. So
a lot of people, yeah, for sure. And I kind of want to segue into what you were talking about with like in a professional side environment with like your coworkers or even a boss. How I expressed having a direct communication style with my friends and people. That's not how you do it in my industry with people that hire you. If you're confrontational, even respectfully and constructively with your bosses, managers, venue managers, the mentality of disposing you is what it comes to. You don't like what we would like is what we're hearing, so we're going to replace you and do something different. So a lot of that is held on. A lot of that is tactful in how you bring up your concerns or how you're confronting people in that nature, because they're so quick to just find someone that's willing to do it if that's not you.
And that's they kind of hold the cards, I suppose, until you have a big enough name where being a main draw.
And then they're, oh my goodness, how can we make you happy? Do you want red M&Ms and sparkling water? Let me get you a private jet to get to the gig that's 5 minutes away. Then they care when you're somebody.
Yeah, so when you can do something for them.
Yeah, when you're brushing your teeth in the toilet because you don't have a dressing room.
That's what they don't care so much.
No, they do care. That was an exaggeration for sure. I just meant the communication piece. They're very good to us here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Well, quick disclaimer. Quick disclaimer.
They're really great. We do not brush our teeth in the toilet by choice.
If some people want to do it, then that's up to them, isn't it?
Sure.
Oh, I think it's a good conversation because it's a lot of people don't see the world that you see from your side, and communication comes in, and you've got the two sides, haven't you? So you've got the people who are in the trenches with you, the performers who may have a bad night and need picking up or be celebrated with. I don't know if it's like other entertainment business, maybe a bit of jealousy goes in. Someone has a bad night, and then all of a sudden, though, on that, someone's had a bad night, someone else has had a good night. The person on a good night is buzzing and maybe hasn't quite taken in that the other person's down. The other person's, I know, maybe given some fake applause or real applause to the other person. But for them, for the person who had a bad night, that's now a negative memory, who in 5 years' times will say, yeah, but do you not remember when I had a bad night and you had a good night and you made me feel shitty about it because you were celebrating? Oblivious.
I was sad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and that's, I know, people are fickle. This comes down to humans. We're rubbish.
Yeah, that's accurate. I think consistency is important for me. In that, if you tell me your style or like how you want, or how, if I learn about you and how you want to be communicated with, or what ways to approach anything, or if I know certain things will trigger you in different ways, that's important on me to recognize that in people. I don't disregard it because that's not my communication style or whatever. That's really, it's learning about the people. But when you don't know anything about that person, or you do and you purposely use different communication styles because you know it's going to, that's just part of the problem in itself.
Yeah. So I hate noise. No, I don't hate noisy. I hate it when people eat noisily, right? Especially wet. So there's a point to this. Especially wet wet foods, like, you know, fruit, especially little pots of fruit that's all been cut up, right? And I worked at this place, and there was this person I worked with, lovely person, but ate really noisily. And I made comments not about that person. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I think it's just my deal, right? It's not everyone cares, right? But it echoes around my head, and and I was kind of their manager, and so. This one day, they were sat there eating their fruit, and I was like, "Right, I'm going to get out of the office and go for a walk. When I get back, or when you finish lunch, I need to show you something. Don't worry, let's do it now. Let's do it. No, you're in lunch. Let's do it, right?" So in the end, I kind of get in without, because I can't verbally say to them, "Your eating makes my skin crawl." I had to sit there. I appreciate this is a long story. And with them sat on my shoulder, looking at the computer, eating this fruit, right? Now, that's on me. I didn't say to them that I didn't like that, and it made me uncomfortable, right? That was 13 years ago. And I still hold that memory, right? Because it happened again 2 days later. And because I didn't say anything the first time, I couldn't say anything the second time.
Yeah.
And now it's this haunting memory, like random. I know.
You're now suffering in silence because of it.
That's right. And this is a work colleague who I no longer speak to. We were kind of slightly more than friends, slightly more than colleagues, slightly less than friends. So never spoken to again. And they've got absolutely no idea that I've got this 13-year-old memory.
Like grudge of you eating fruit.
Like I could see them, and it, like at some point in time, I will see them walking down the road, and if they've got food in their hands, I would just divert off. But I'm not really sure the point of that. But I suppose it's because of communication. I didn't communicate. I went against my own rule of, and now it's not their fault. They both changed their eating habits. Maybe the rest of the world doesn't care as much as I do.
But you remember it, and you'll always associate it with that person,
right? They could be out saving the homeless, just putting them up in mansions and feeding and educating and whatever they need. And I'll be like,
"That was great, but they ate fruit weird this time,
right in my ear,
my ear."
That's it. Yeah, it's Gandhi 2.0, and I'm like, yeah, but no, I don't like them.
Sorry.
Oh, dude, that's a random memory. But yeah, every so often I do think of them. Okay, this is I've really enjoyed this conversation because I feel like we are a massive pond away. You're in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
I'm down just in the south of England, right at the very bottom. So you got London, and there is further south. And I feel like we've connected over this. Just I don't know, for just God, what bullshit and nonsense. But how do you make something like that better?
I think that if I was going to give any advice to myself that I am trying to practice actively now, that if I could have started practicing maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, which is probably maybe too young. I'd say I'm almost 30, so when I'm like starting early 20s, would be to not allow that jealousy, that grudge, that maybe bad memory to take control of myself over another person. And it
Yeah.
would be to make the choice to acknowledge it and get over it. Like, I acknowledge that this really sucks, but it's not a big deal. And I genuinely, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm going to address it with other people, the person that I need to address it with, and just get it out on the table so that there's no strings. And I think that or I'm going to tell my person and process it and then let it dissipate. Like, what direction? I think if I could have taught myself 10 years ago was communicate with yourself and be mindful of that to the people around you, so that you're not pushing people out for stupid reasons. I know 10 people 10 years ago that I pushed out, or we had bad fallings out over stupid things.
Yeah.
Over stupid things, even maybe like a fruit in the ear, like something simple like that. But it's just that idea that could have been fixed, and maybe you wouldn't be sitting with this feeling that down the road. Like, the idea is to express it, get over it, so you can fill yourself with better happiness and more positivity, I think.
I love that, because as you were talking, I do, you get that, if you let things like that keep hold of you, and whether you address it or not, if you let it stay within you, it will sour you as a person. There'll always be a part of your soul, whatever it is, your personality, that is just a bit worse, a bit bleaker, because you've kept hold of something which really doesn't need any energy or time. But
it's holding you back from things that you could be doing in your life. And even inherently, you don't even know what that one thing is doing to stop you from achieving the next levels of your life.
I would avoid eating around or having other people going out for lunch. It soured me. I miss all these things I'm missing out on. But that's quite poignant. And these conversations I have when people come on, they go in many different ways. And apart from my eternal monologue about someone eating, this is a real thing, because people do need to let go, but also we do as well, and not just fruit person, but relationships, and so it's not just the people who don't matter, it's the people who at one point mattered, and maybe they don't anymore. So that's unfortunate.
I say the idea, it's cliche, the let go but never forget. I don't think you should ever forget how you feel in a situation. I don't ever think you should forget maybe a negative or a hurtful experience that you have, but I think it's what you do with that memory that is where it's going to take, because ultimately things, when they boil down to it, they don't really matter as much as we think. They do hold negative spaces for other opportunity, but I think learning is part of not forgetting, and you can't remember that for the next time you go to lunch, or the next time you have the same issue with somebody, if you do the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what, stemming on, I think I've solved how we make it better, and a lot of the time if I can't find a real way, because the actual real way of this is everyone just listening and thinking, right, let me sort this. Do I need to talk about yes, so I will, no, so I won't, move on either way? That's the reality. You're not going to affect everyone like that.
Yeah.
So what the alternative is that me and you, we're going to create an app that if you have an argument with someone, or someone upsets you, you tap on the app, and a countdown timer starts for 48 hours, 36 hours.
I'd say you have a limit. How much time do you think you need to get over this? Is it a day? Is it a week? And you have a maximum a month. That's like a countdown. You have that much time you think you genuinely need to figure it out.
And what it does is it calls the person. So when it hits that time, it calls the person, and you choose to have it out or say, how are you doing?
That is such a great idea. It's timed confrontation.
Yeah.
I love it. You have the grievance. That is such a great idea.
And if you don't want to have it out, if you're like, no, actually, because when they answer the phone, hey, you're like, right, no, do you know what? I'm okay. Job done. Or
you have the option. Are you really okay and it's over, or are you gonna bring it up and talk about it?
yeah.
You can't let it go. That is such a great idea.
Do you know how to build apps?
Sure don't, but I know people. I have great ideas, and I can find some people. I will get back to you.
Hey, let's do it, because hey, you never know. But do you know what? If the app never does get built, let's just hope people start choosing positivity over negativity. Mr. Hart, I kind of feel like in one way or another, if nothing else, this has been really cathartic, because there is things I hold on to. And I know, despite how much I try and tell other people that, no, let it go and all this stuff, there is things in there. And maybe it's time just to let them go. So look, now we've solved a little bit of the world's annoyances. Please tell us, where can we find you? If we want to learn more about Mr. Hall, where are we looking?
Yeah, so you can find me. I have a website, jessicalahore.com, but I'm also on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. I have a podcast as well called Jess Talks, and Facebook. And then I do have a lot of all ages and family friendly work that I do under Miss Jessica. So drag queen story times, going and talking to GSAs, different ways to donate to scholarship funds and things like that. So Miss Jessica and Jessica Lahore on all platforms.
Love it. That's fantastic. Well, I say, and everything, all the links will be in the bio of this episode. I will certainly be checking it out, because this has been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Hey, and you're the first drag queen to be on the Make It Better podcast. I really hope not the last either. So spread the word. But yeah, Mr. Holt, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, maybe when we do a season 2 of this, we'll get you back on for something else.
I would love that. I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate it.
So all it is time for me to say thank you very much for everyone for listening. It's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Mr. Hall. Say goodbye, Mr. Hall.
Bye.